In today's video, I'm going to be sharing everything you need to know about blocking a fascinator base or molding a fascinator base, from pricing to techniques to tips. So let's get started. Hi people, my name is Susan and this is Sussy's vlog. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I share all things DIY, craft, lifestyle, you just name it. So I'm making use of a stiffener. You can make use of top bond if you're working with fabric, if you want to mold fabric, then a fascinator mold, then a tape, and then Vaseline or any ointment of your choice, or Odourless vegetable oil, pen, ruler, then a Warden, or they call it breast pad. I'm also going to use a Thumbtack and then a black nylon. Now a white nylon is the best practice for this, but I'm using a black nylon. So I'm going to measure my fascinator base. My fascinator base, or mold rather, is 7 inches. You can see some that are 8 inches, 10 inches, but this is 7 inches. And then I'm going to add 3 more inches to this to make it 10 inches. And it is with this 10 inches I'm going to measure on my Warden or breast pad. If you go to those people selling tailoring items, they call it breast pad. And then this is half yard. This half yard usually gives me 7 fascinator base. 7 fascinator base. Now you want to measure that 10 inches all around to have a perfect square that is 10 inches or 10 centimeter at all ends. Now, like I said, this fascinator base, this Warden I'm using for fascinator base, is half yard, and this half yard usually gives me 7 fascinator base. 7 fascinator base. And this is not the only thing you can use to block your fascinator base. You can use your Warden like this, or princess mat, or Sinnmay, or bishop cap, which they also call felt cap, or fabric from your lace, your satin. You can use all this to block your fascinator base. Now, but when blocking your fascinator base, each of these materials have different time frame to dry. Like for this Warden or breast pad, it takes 2 days minimum to dry. 2 days if the weather is favorable. 2 days to dry. So the first thing I did was to add my stiffener into my bowl, and I set it aside. And I got my black set of black nylon. Like I said, the white nylon is the best practice for this. The white cling film or plastic wrap is the best for this. I wrapped it well, and I'm going to get my Odourless vegetable oil. You can use Vaseline, you can use coconut oil, olive oil, feel free. This is just to make sure that your cinnamon or your breast pad, like what I'm using here, comes out after it's stiff, after it's molded. Now I place my breast pad into ordinary water, room temperature water, and I'm going to squeeze out. You don't want to completely squeeze out the water. I don't want it to drip, but just want to squeeze out. You are doing this to make your Warden soft or your breast pad soft. Now this breast pad has 2 sides. It has the shining part, it has the non-shining part. You want to make sure that your shining part, the shining part of the breast pad is facing your work surface, while the part that is not shining is facing you. That was to be inside when you mold. Now to tack it, you're going to tack according to the 4 cardinal points: north, east, west, and south. North, east, west, and south. That's how you're going to tack it. This is to ensure you secure these 4 edges first. This is the best way to tack your Sinnmay, to tack your Warden, to tack your princess mat, or any other fabric you are using, or any other thing you are using. Now after tacking it, you want to pull. Make sure you are pulling at the side. You want the edges to be smooth. You don't want to have any folds at the edges, so you have to pull and tack. This tacking is very simple. Now this breast pad, I got half a yard for about 700 naira for half a yard. This half a yard usually gives me 7 molded fascinator base. 7 molded fascinator base, and this is not expensive compared to the Sinnmay. As at today in 2023 November 17, This Sinnmay is sold at 7,500, from 6,000 naira to 6,500 to 7,500. That's the price range. Now this is how it looks like after molding. Now next thing I'm going to do is to get my stiffener. I'm using a stiffener. You can use top band too. This top band, I use top band when I'm working with fabric, so you can use top bands, but this is what I'm using. I will show you how to use the top band in another video. And I'm going to mix my stiffener with equal amount of water, just like the measurement I use for my stiffener. I'll just add equal amounts of water. You can do half part water, half part stiffener, or you can do two parts water, one part stiffener. The whole essence is make sure that your stiffener is not too light in consistency, it's not too light and not too thick. Then when you are applying it, you can use your hand to apply it. You can use your brush, you can use a little foam. Don't rub, only pat the way I'm doing in this video. And make sure you pat this base, and also you pat the edges and the top, just the way I'm doing in this video. And once you are through, you allow it to dry under the sun. Don't allow water to touch it, under the sun. For this breast pad, it takes 2 days to dry, minimum of 2 days. If you're using Sinnmay takes 4 to 6 hours. Please check the description box beneath this video for more tips and details of everything I use with the measurements. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, because trust me, I'm going to be sharing loads of tips, loads of tutorials, loads of crafts on this channel, and you don't want to miss it. And to my OGs, thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. And to new subscribers, when you subscribe, just leave me a hi, a subscribe, and I will leave you a special shout out in my next video. Today's special virtual hug is for Blessing Prince Will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support and for joining this community. So now my molded cap is dry. My molded fascinator base rather is dry. So these are the things I'm going to use to work. I'm going to be using measuring tape, my paper tape, my millinery wire, my scissors, plier, and glue. So first I'm going to remove the thumbtack from this thumbtack is just about 100 naira, so it's cheaper compared to the other ones with colored head. Then after removing it, if you are finding it difficult to remove this particular one, just get something flat like a scissors, like I'm doing here, to remove the thumbtack. Then I'm going to remove the fascinator mold from it, and then once I was through, I'm going to cut off the excess. Now watch how I'm going to cut off the excess. I'm not going to cut it to the edges. I'm going to leave allowance. This allowance is to enable me insert my millinery wire and to glue it together. Now for the glue, I'm using B6000. Now this is not what I usually use. I usually use this hot gum glue, this candle wax glue, this hot that they use with hot gum. This is the best practice. It doesn't take time to stick, so I'm going to be using that. Now this is how the millinery wire comes in. I can't remember how much I got this again, but this is how it comes in. I want to make sure it's sitting on the base, on this opening base of your cap, just like this. If it's too small, your molded fascinator base is going to have a funny shape and it's not going to be stiff. This millinery wire is what makes it stiff. It's like the vein, and there's the vein or the bone of the cap, or the skeleton of the cap. It makes it stiff. It's not slack. It makes it not to be slack but stiff. So you need this, and you want to make sure it's exactly the same size as this opening base. Then I'm going to use my tape, my paper tape, to hold the two of it together. Once you are measuring your millinery wire, make sure you overlap it so that you can hold it together, either with your paper tape or you can use your thread. When you're using your thread, fold your thread into about 4 to 6 strands to give it stamina, and then you wrap it, round it, and tie. But I prefer working with this paper tape. So this is how you do it. You will discover that I kept going back to make sure it's the same size. That is the millinery wire. I kept going back to make sure it's the same size. So this is just how to do this. And then once I was through, I inserted this millinery wire into my molded fascinator base. Now it's not compulsory for you to use this millinery wire. Yes, you can get this from those people selling Millinery store, fascinator supplies and accessories, but it's not compulsory for you to use this. You can use a flexible wire, So if your Millinery wire that you're using, this ring you created, if it's too big, it's going to be difficult for you to enter your molded fascinator base, and if it's too small, it's going to make your base to be slack. So I'm using big 6000 to glue these edges together, just to conceal that millinery wire and to make sure the base is stable, is strong. It's not light. How will I put it? It's strong, to give it base, to give it stamina. So I'm going to use this base 6000, but the best bet is using your hot glue gun. Trust me, that's the best bet when you're working, especially when you're working with this breast pad. Now there's another way I make use of my another way I block my fascinator base. I'm going to be showing that in the next clip. But after you applied your glue, make sure you hold it down like this, the way I'm doing it here, just so that it sticks. You can use your peg or clips to do this too, to help it stick on time while you do all that other things. So as I was saying, for my base, when I want to block, the other ways I block, I can decide to block with my fabric. If I'm working with the fabric, if I have the fabric on ground, I can decide to work with my fabric. Now I'll show you now. Now this is a velvet fabric. I'm using this velvet fabric, and I from the beginning when I was blocking, I block with this velvet fabric just like this. This makes my work easier for me. So I make sure I have a fascinator base, at least 3 fascinator base every week, because sometimes work can just come when you are not prepared and you want to have this around. Or you can get your felt cap for 600 naira to 700 naira for small one, or 800 naira to 900 naira for big one. So this is how I make my work easier for me when I am working with a fabric, a specific fabric like a velvet fabric. So this is one way of doing it. If I want to add my lining too, I'll just block the 3 of them together, add my lining, my Warden, or my Sinnmay or princess mat, add my fabric and block everything at once, so it makes my work easier for me. So if you want to see what I did with this fascinator base, not the yellow one, both this yellow one and another color, you need to stick around for my next video. Trust me, this is going to be fun. So this is how my fascinator base looks like after I've done my wiring. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your support. I wish to see you in my other video. Bye.